Hey guys, what's going on? This is Coach Mike. Going to go through the conventional deadlift. Just going to go through the points of performance, setup, what the movement should look like. If you're someone that struggles with this exercise, this is definitely a great place to start with getting some better technique and understanding the movement mechanics a little bit. So, uh, I just look like an absolute just warrior right now. I just want to point that out there, just standing in front of the bar. I'm just kidding, but we're gonna go through this exercise. And basically, setup position is essential. So even before I start playing and rolling the video, I want you guys to just take a look at my lower body with my feet under the hips. So the conventional deadlift, essentially, the setup position to start was with your feet directly underneath your hips. Now, depending upon how big your hips are, how wide your hips are, how narrow, how long your legs are, etc., we might move the feet out a little bit. But for the most part, your feet are going to be directly underneath the hips. This is where you can transmit the most amount of force into the floor, right? So start to play the video a little bit. All right, so you see my initial setup here. My feet are in contact with the floor. Note that I do not have any shoes on. I'm going from a complete flat surface. If you're not someone that typically wears flats when you deadlift, like some, Chuck Taylors, some flats, the Nanos. There's a bunch of different flats out there. I would get some. Don't deadlift in running shoes. They're not as stable. I just like going from bare feet. I can make as much feel out the floor and create that curvature of my foot. I actually pronate a little bit with my feet, so I actually have to spend a little bit extra time on being diligent about maintaining a curve. So foot position, again, feet are under the hips. We want to make sure that the whole foot's in contact with the floor. We're not wiggling those toes while we lift the bar. So big toe is going to be in the ground. Weight's going to be, essentially through the heel, but we do want a little bit of arch to the foot. We do not want the ankles to roll in. Now, if you notice on my hand setup, my hands are just outside my shins. Just for the essentially just going through this movement right now, I just have a typical overhand grip. You can mix grip if the bar gets heavy, but this is just a 15-pound training bar with some 15s on it. Again, my hands are outside my shins. I'm actually in contact with my legs here. I actually like to, this isn't necessarily a to-do or a must-do for the deadlift. I actually just like to get my arms in contact with my legs. This just gives me some proprioceptive feedback. Okay, notice how a nice neutral head posture. I'm not staring up and flaring my head up at the camera. So again, feet under the hips, arms in contact with the knees slightly past the arms. When we go to that next angle, you'll see that the bar is going to be underneath my shoulder blade. So as Jess kind of moves the camera around a little bit, you'll see that setup position. So I'll just pause that right there. Should be good. All right, so notice nice neutral head. My eye gaze is coming around here. So I'm looking at about 6 feet out in front of me. Chin's tucked. This barbell is underneath my shoulder blade. So setup position is so important here. I can't stress it enough. A lot of people will set up and push their knees forward, which will push the bar out here. That bar is no longer over the center of their shoulder blade. You want that bar over the center of your foot and in line with your shoulder blades, hips up with that back nice and flat. We do not want to sit too low here and push the knees forward and push the bar away. If your hips are really low, you might be doing a clean style deadlift. This is a conventional style deadlift, okay? So from here, let's go through some repetitions. All right, so note my position now. I'm straight up and down. I'm looking forward, okay? The bar is on top of my body throughout the entire movement, okay? If you have one thought during the deadlift, it is to keep the bar on your body the entire time. So note how when I break and go back down, my hips are going to shoot back first, okay? Common fault here with the deadlift, the knees are pushing super forward. The bar is going to get out in front of those feet. You have to pull the bar back in. That's when you start using your back a tremendous amount. You start losing that nice neutral spine. You start curving your back. Again, we want the bar over the center of the foot. In order to do that, we're going to send the hip slightly back. As the bar gets past the kneecap, that's when we can break slightly at the knees and descend back down. Now, when I say break at the knees, we're going to bend the knees slightly, but we're not going to push the knees super forward and start to flex at the ankle a tremendous amount. Okay? That bar comes back down to the ground. If you note the starting and ending position from the start up and back down, the bar should go in the same exact place. So the bar shouldn't be out in front. Again, the bar staying close to the body throughout the movement. We come up, Hips come back, sit back into it. The bar comes down. With movement, I'm coming back to an up and down position. Back down. My hips aren't rolling underneath. Hips are coming back. Hips are coming back. Hips are coming back. Once the bar gets past my knee, I'm sitting into it. I'm maintaining tension. I'm not losing that nice neutral spine through my lower back and or upper back. I'm still maintaining that nice neutral head posture. So again, conventional style deadlift, big takeaways. Number one, set up position, feet underneath the hips so we can press into the floor. Number two, keep the bar over the center of your middle of your foot throughout the movement so that bar also stays in line with the shoulder blade. And number three, keep that bar close to your body throughout the entire movement. If you're going to think about three things, think about those things, and you should be pretty good to go with that conventional style deadlift. Thanks, guys.